Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
You know where we are?
Occult Archives.
That's right.
Venturing into the shadows.
Occult Archives.
To explore.
We're in the shadows, all right.
It's history's most talked about.
It's dark in here.
Sometimes feared books.
You said it.
We're not here for the sensationalism.
Definitely not.
We really want to understand the ideas behind these texts and why they have such a grip on the human imagination.
Yeah, you know, we talk about forbidden knowledge and ancient secrets.
Yeah.
It's not always some hidden grimoire or a single book locked away.
Right.
But, you know, these books, they do have a reputation. And
You do.
it makes people a little nervous.
Sure does.
So today's book, I think, fits that description pretty well.
Like so.
It is the Hymns of Hermes.
Yes.
Songs of Gnosis, praise, and cosmic unity.
It's a mouthful.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a fascinating one.
It is.
We are diving deep.
So this is episode 73.
Episode 73.
The Hymns of Hermes.
Songs of Gnosis.
Songs of Gnosis, praise, and cosmic unity.
Beautiful title.
It does have a certain weight to it, doesn't it?
It really does.
So, as I said, the Hymns of Hermes, it's a collection put together and presented to us.
By G.R.S. Mead.
That's right.
Global Gray Edition.
G.R.S. Mead.
Yes.
And
way back in 1906.
That's right. 1906, he first published this.
Yes.
And it really is a valuable way in.
Very much so.
Because these texts are difficult.
They are very difficult.
They are dense.
Challenging.
Very challenging.
A lot of people would be interested.
Yeah.
But
where you begin?
Yeah, they don't know where to start.
Right.
And so G.R.S. Mead gave us wonderful...
Yeah, like a primer.
A primer.
Almost an introduction to these mystic...
The mystic.
Theosophic and Gnostic writings.
That's right. And he himself was quite the scholar.
Oh, absolutely.
And a mystic in his own right.
Well, he was involved in the Theosophical Society for some time. He broke away and formed his own Quest Society, I believe it was called.
That's right.
Or the Quest Society.
Yeah.
And
devoted the rest of his life to Gnostic studies, translating texts. Writing and...
making them accessible.
Right. And he specifically mentions Clement of Alexandria, who wrote about this back...
Oh, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, like 2nd century, I believe, AD.
So Clement talked about the books of Hermes as being this...
So these are the books of Hermes, which are attributed to Thoth.
That's right, the Egyptian god, Thoth.
And Clement, sometimes called Trismegistus as well.
Trismegistus, Thrice-Greatest.
Right. And Clement said that...
They said the entire religious philosophy
of the Egyptian priesthood was contained in these books.
That's right.
I mean...
Imagine
this
mind-boggling.
This corpus of knowledge.
Yeah.
42 books.
42.
According to Clement. And
they were organized by the priests themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Into these 42...
They had their own system.
Books.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what's really fascinating is 2 of these sections were dedicated to hymns.
That's right.
One was hymns to honor the gods.
That's right.
And one was hymns to praise the kings.
Interesting.
I know so.
That they would even have that.
I know.
I mean, a whole section of their most important book.
Their whole religious philosophy.
Devoted to praising kings.
I know. I mean, hymns to praise the gods.
You would think.
That would be the primary focus.
But to have a whole section for the kings is very interesting.
Well, we have to remember, these are
so long ago.
Yeah, this is thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Ancient Egypt.
And those books of Thoth
are lost to us.
Yeah, we don't have them.
Which is so frustrating.
It really is.
I mean, can you imagine if we had...
If we had those?
A complete 42 books.
Books of Thoth.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable.
Right. I mean...
That would be incredible. That would be a whole season right there.
Many seasons.
Many seasons.
Right.
But...
You know, Mead points out that Clement's idea of the singular Hermes might be a bit too simple for the Egyptians. The concept of Thoth
was Greek.
Was much broader.
Yeah.
He was the inspiration behind sacred writings.
Right. So it wasn't like he was like the god who wrote the books.
Right. He was the inspiration for writing itself.
Like the force.
That impulse to transmit knowledge.
Yeah. And Iamblichus even said.
Iamblichus?
That it was almost like a title.
It was a title.
That all priests held.
Like the oversoul of that priestly class as a whole.
Yeah. So, you know, the Greeks loved Hermes.
Yeah.
But they recognized that their Hermes didn't quite measure up.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is why we get this term, Thrice-Greatest Hermes.
That's right, Trismegistus.
Right.
It was like, okay, we
Hermes.
gotta up the ante here. This is
to even get close.
This Egyptian ideal
to the Egyptian Thoth, right?
Is so much bigger than our Hermes.
So much bigger, right?
Right.
So we're looking at
when we explore these hymns of Hermes,
we're looking at the influence of that enduring Egyptian wisdom.
That's right.
Filtered through.
But it's coming through Greek thought.
Greek philosophical thought.
Right. And the interesting thing is, as we've been talking about, we don't have a complete collection of these hymns.
Sadly, it's all fragments.
Fragments, little pieces
of poetry
scattered throughout this literature.
Trismegistic literature.
Trismegistic literature. What is Trismegistic literature for someone just tuning in?
Basically, it's a body of writings that are attributed to this thrice-greatest Hermes.
Okay.
And it covers all kinds of topics.
Religious, philosophical, occult.
So it emerged in that kind of like...
in the Hellenistic period.
Yeah, that kind of like blending of Egyptian and Greek.
Exactly, that syncretic kind of environment.
And these little pieces survive.
Mead gives a fascinating reason.
Yeah, why would these little pieces survive?
He thinks that maybe they weren't guarded so fiercely by what he calls exclusive bibliolatry.
Right.
Which I just love that phrase.
I know that's a great phrase.
Exclusive bibliolatry.
Like an obsessive...
like only the priests can look at these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these hymns...
they were a little more accessible.
More accessible.
So they were copied, maybe more shared. And so that's why these little pieces...
might be why they survived.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So one of the key texts
within this Trismegistic literature is the Pomandres.
Yes, the Pomandres.
The Pomandres, which is fascinating.
Very interesting.
And Mead thinks that that is actually a Greek.
A Greek transliteration.
Yeah, of an Egyptian...
of an Egyptian name.
Name.
That means something like...
that possibly means shepherd of men.
Yeah, shepherd of men or man shepherd.
Man shepherd, yeah. So, Pomandres.
It's a very interesting text.
Yeah, it introduces us to this figure.
As divine humanity.
Divine humanity.
The great mind.
Yeah.
The source of spiritual initiation.
Yeah. And it's described as just this...
limitless.
like pure light, life, and goodness.
Presence of light.
Yeah, presence.
Life.
Yes.
And goodness.
And Pomandres says something really interesting about who this divine presence helps.
Who can connect with it.
Right.
And it says... it's those individuals who are holy, good, pure, and merciful.
So there are some prerequisites here.
There are prerequisites. And for them...
for those who meet the prerequisite.
this presence actively helps them.
Right.
It grants them Gnosis.
Right.
Which is not just head knowledge, but a deep experiential understanding. And also, it grants them the Father's love.
And it allows them to chant hymns.
Yeah, with true intention.
With true intention.
Right.
And this idea...
it's found elsewhere, too.
in other texts.
Yeah, like in the Key.
Right.
Another Hermetic text.
So this consummation, this kind of like...
this connection.
it says goodness recognizes goodness.
Yeah.
Purity aligns with purity.
And mercy understands mercy.
Mercy, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mead had a very insightful interpretation of pure.
Oh, what does it mean to be pure?
Right.
And he says it's not just about being morally clean.
Right.
It's about inner balance.
Right.
Like a true kind of...
like you said, it's not just head knowledge, but it's like this deep...
it's experiential.
Embodied.
It's a state of being.
Yeah.
And he says...
equilibrium.
It's equilibrium.
Yeah, like resolving those inner conflicts.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even those who are not yet at that level of purity, even those who are still ignorant, they're still touched by this divine presence.
Okay, so everyone's touched.
Everyone's touched.
But in different ways.
Right. So for the ignorant, it's almost like...
like a protection.
like a reversed mode.
Okay.
So it acts to prevent them from falling into even greater darkness.
So like a safety net almost.
Yeah, almost like...
like you're not ready for the full...
right, you're not ready for the full blast of the divine light. So it kind of...
it holds you back.
holds you back a little bit.
From going too far into
the darkness.
The darkness, yeah.
Yeah.
And he uses this great analogy of the soil.
Yeah, like you have to clear the soil.
You have to clear the soil.
Like weeds and rocks.
Before you can plant anything.
Before you can even think about planting.
Right. So this
process of clearing...
yeah, what does that look like?
it's a fundamental shift. It's a turning of one's life.
Oh,
To align.
So instead of resisting the heavenly spheres, you're aligning with them.
You're aligning with them.
Okay.
And that alignment creates a connection. To the divine presence.
Yeah.
And
then that presence
serves the entire being.
The whole being. It's beautiful.
Yeah, he uses this beautiful image.
Yeah, of the heart.
Of the heart awakening.
Yeah.
And speaking.
Speaking true words.
Yeah.
A constant outpouring of praise.
Yeah, so it's not just about...
Right, not just words.
Feeling good.
It's action.
It's about a transformation.
Yeah.
Of feeling into knowledge. So it's Gnostic passion.
Gnostic passion, yeah.
It's not just about having a nice feeling.
Right.
It's about transforming that feeling.
Into knowledge.
Into knowledge,
Right,
into wisdom.
And so the hymns that we might sing here on earth
are reflections.
Are reflections of something deeper.
Of a heavenly mystery.
Right. Yeah. And we can't
sing in harmony with the cosmos.
Right.
Until we've brought
our own nature into order.
Our own inner nature into order.
Yeah. So we have to work on ourselves.
We gotta become
before we can sing the right song.
A microcosm.
Yes, a microcosm.
A cosmos within.
Right.
Otherwise,
it's just noise.
It's just noise.
It's just howling.
Right. Not the reasonable oblations.
Reasonable oblations.
Which are fitting.
Which are fitting for the divine.
For the divine, yeah.
This reminds me of the myth of Osiris.
Right.
His scattered limbs.
Yeah. And the later concept of the seven spheres shaping our limbs.
So these are like the fundamental aspects of our being.
Yeah. Yeah, like those scattered...
They're unarticulated, disordered.
Yeah, yeah.
Largely because of our untamed passions.
Yeah. The typhonic forces.
The typhonic forces, right?
Yeah.
And it's only when we bring those into harmony.
Yeah.
When the inner being is integrated.
Yeah.
That we can actually become...
An instrument.
Right?
Capable of playing cosmic music.
Yeah, and Mead calls this
He calls it a marvelous transmutation.
A marvelous transmutation of the whole nature.
That's right.
We release those typhonic passions.
Yes.
And it's this divine catastrophe.
Divine catastrophe.
That transforms the Titan.
Into the god.
Right. And he says something really important.
Yeah.
These passions.
These seemingly evil passions.
Are not inherently bad.
No, they're not negative forces.
They're not negative forces.
They're
part of the
experience.
Or human experience.
Of the natural energy.
Of the divine harmony.
Of the divine harmony.
That's right.
It's the sevenfold.
The sevenfold means through which...
Yeah, the divine manifests and interacts.
And interacts with the created world.
With the created world. That's right. So it's this creative instrument.
This divine harmony.
That's constantly refining us.
Refining us.
Perfecting a form.
Yes.
Capable of reflecting the perfect man.
Reflecting the perfect man, yeah.
So it's like...
Like we're all a work in progress.
We're all a work in progress.
You're being shaped by these forces.
Yeah. So the neophyte might initially perceive these raw energies as hostile. Yeah. Like old rags.
Like old rags, you got to get rid of them.
Got to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But he says...
But Mead clarifies that these
new garments are actually made from the same yarns.
Same yarns.
It's rewoven.
Rewoven.
According to the Great Weaver's plan.
The Great Weaver.
Yeah. Right. So it's taking our imperfections, transforming them.
Into something beautiful.
In something beautiful and fitting.
Fitting.
Yeah.
And so it's like these vices arising from the
downward pull.
The downward pull of the seven spheres.
Of the seven spheres.
They're stripped away.
Yeah. And then we have this.
We ascend to the eighth sphere.
The eighth sphere.
And we join.
We join those who are already there.
Those who are already there, praising the Father.
Yeah.
And then
we
become aware of
powers even higher up.
Even higher up in the 9th and 10th spheres.
Right.
Each with their own
songs.
Right. And eventually we join them.
We join them.
We surrender to the Father.
And become
powers within God.
Which
is the ultimate aim.
It's the ultimate aim.
For those who attain Gnosis.
Right.
And it's this, so it's a
shift, fundamental shift.
From ordinary man.
Yeah.
Caught in the procession of fate.
To true manhood.
Yeah.
Leading to godhood.
Leading to godhood. Wow. And Mead mentions this ancient Egyptian concept of man.
Of man having at least 9 forms.
At least 9.
Of manifestation.
There's levels to this.
Yeah, it's a complex process.
It's a complex process.
Of transformation.
Yeah.
And he also brings up this idea.
Yeah, he was really interested in this phrase.
Of being clothed in his proper power.
In his proper power?
Right.
What does that mean?
And he wonders if this is connected to
The Kybete?
The Kybete, yeah, which was that
luminous atmosphere?
Luminous atmosphere.
Or series of ethereal envelopes.
The Egyptians believed surrounded.
A radiant.
Yeah, like a spiritually reborn being.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting.
Connected.
Because it's connected
to the linen wrappings of mummy.
Right. They would wrap the mummy in linen.
Yeah.
To try to preserve this radiance.
And Plutarch even talks about linen being worn by priests. Symbolizing this ethereal light.
Ethereal light.
Yeah.
So it's like, so maybe this clothed in his proper power
is about
the Kybete.
Yeah.
Like that light body.
Yeah, the light body.
Yeah. And Mead also draws this parallel.
Yeah.
To the transfiguration of Jesus.
In the Pistis Sophia.
Right.
Which talks about
that descending light.
Just descending light.
And the threefold glory.
Yeah.
Maybe that represents.
Yeah, those three spheres.
Yeah, like that.
Of existence.
Yeah, those bodies of light.
Yeah, the bodies of light.
Of the 8th, 9th, and 10th spheres.
That's right. So, clothed in his proper power.
Could be
understood as the powers of the 7 spheres.
Coming together.
Yeah.
Unified.
Into
one. And that is...
the 8th sphere.
The 8th.
Which
is...
in Platonic.
In the Platonic tradition, and probably from Egypt originally.
Right.
Was seen as...
the vehicle of the pure mind.
The vehicle of the pure mind.
It was something atomic, very regular as to its own light.
Very regular.
As to its own light.
So it's stable and radiant.
It's a
stable and radiant foundation.
Yeah.
So this transformation... it's
not just mental.
It's not just a mental or spiritual shift.
Or spiritual.
It's a change in the...
the change in the body.
In the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So allows you to resonate. With the cosmic harmony.
How to sing in tune.
Yeah.
With the spheres. To know the language of nature.
Yeah.
And to offer continuous praise.
Continuous praise through your very being.
Yeah.
And then you can hear. The songs of...
the joyous songs.
The sons of God.
Of the sons of God.
Those first of the invisible choirs.
The first of the invisible choirs.
And they welcome you.
And their welcoming response.
Yeah, which is described...
in Pistis Sophia.
Right.
In the hymn Come Unto Us.
Right, Come Unto Us.
Yeah.
And there are...
even higher choirs.
Yeah. Higher choirs with even...
of transcendence.
Yeah, singing in languages...
that we
can't even understand. And this transformation leads to...
a sense of belonging.
Yeah. A true cosmopolitan. In the deepest sense.
Yeah.
An ineffable union.
Yeah.
That removes...
that dissolves all fear.
And
it creates this longing. For the final sacred marriage.
Right.
A complete surrender.
Yeah.
To become one with God.
One with God, the all in the one.
So ultimately, the Aeon presents this vision of a living, breathing cosmos, interconnected, driven by divine will.
Yeah.
It's a far cry from a mechanistic view.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this whole tradition sees spiritual life as
a continuous act of song.
Yeah, a perpetual service of praise.
A service of praise.
And this
aligns perfectly with the ancient Egyptian belief
that humanity was created
specifically
to worship the gods. So our purpose is to
utter true words. And sing a song of harmony. Which ultimately leads us to become like the gods.
And
join the great gods.
In
that boat of the millions of years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's within this framework of the service of song.
That the preserved hymns.
Take
on even greater meaning. Yeah.
And so
the first one.
The first one that Mead gives us is appended
to the Pomandres. Yes.
And
it was intended.
To give humanity some understanding of how the powers.
Yeah, how these higher powers
offer their praise.
And
apparently some of the
less experienced followers.
Yeah, the less instructed thought it would be.
They thought it would be like earthly hymns, right?
Like the hymns they were used to.
And this is not that.
Not at all.
So this hymn is called...
It's called a triple trisagion. Yeah.
Okay, and it's
really concise.
It's just 9 lines.
Yeah, just 9 lines.
3 groups of 3. And they all start with...
Holy art thou.
Yeah. And the first one...
Holy art thou.
Is addressed to God as...
Universal's father.
The universal's father, which
Mead explains?
Mead says is
the
source of all the great cosmic principles.
The aeonic immensities.
The aeonic immensities.
Yes, the foundational aspects, host, speaker.